to Fairway to Heaven. This is a LIV Golf podcast. Of course, you have me, Sue Hang, and Jerry Foltz. This week, we are together here at the Golf Club of Houston.
So sweet, yeah.
We're reunited, and it feels so good.
It feels
Jerry.
so right,
Not
yes.
really. No, it doesn't feel that right. Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you for picking us once again. Please do join us on our YouTube page, Fairway to Heaven podcast, and we do have our very own social pages as well on TikTok, Instagram, and X. That's at FTH_LIV Golf. What's up, Jerry?
Very impressive. How about cool is this? We're in the pro shop here at Golf Club of Houston.
I know.
You guys are so kind to let us use it, and this place is awesome. I mean, I just got here and I fell in love with the place already. The people are the biggest factor. Everybody's so cool, and in Texas, but especially this part of Texas, and welcoming LIV.
Yeah, on my to-do list while I'm here after my 24-hour trek is to get some Texas barbecue.
Yeah, well, it's
the place to do it, isn't it?
it's an absolute culture down here. Yeah, you know what we should do as well? We should go two-stepping this
To what?
weekend. Go country dancing, go two-stepping.
Oh, God.
Come on, I'll teach you how to two-step.
I got to be drunk enough to do it.
Cotton Eye Joe, the whole works. I learned how in my first year of college. So,
All right. Well,
yeah.
I would love to see that. All right. Speaking of which, we do have 5 players in our league that's won here at the Golf Club of Houston in the past. Paul Casey, Poulter, Phil, Anthony Kim, and who am I missing?
Jones?
Jonesy.
Yeah.
Yes. And on that note, who's your pick for this week? Team and individual.
Team and my individual is long overdue, and he hasn't got enough notoriety this year based on what he did last year, but he's overdue to win, and that's Taylor Gooch.
Ooh.
Yeah, analytics look very good for Taylor Gooch. They look good for Hatton. They look good for a lot of guys, but what I think are the key ones here look really, really good. And 4 aces, again, way overdue.
Wow.
They are going to rally this week.
Is that because of our next guest that's coming on? Is that your?
He's not even
just
here
kissing
yet.
ass?
He doesn't
Is
even
that-
know I picked him. Yes, but I'll be sure to remind him.
Okay,
Yes.
right. I'm going to go with Joaquin Neiman, and I'm going to go with Torquay, just because, you know, Joaquin's playing some great golf. And and the Torquay team, after that interview with Carlos last week, and a real insight into the team dynamic, I got to go with them. Why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
A few things happened in the last few days since our last podcast. John Bodenhammer.
Bodenhammer, yeah.
He's the Chief Championship Officer of the USGA. He told the Golf Channel that him and his peers are looking at all options moving forward, which includes the introduction of a qualifying system, especially for LIV golfers. Quote unquote, we've watched what's been happening in professional golf unfold, and we've seen a lot of good players go over to LIV, and we're thinking a lot about it. I think it's reasonable to expect that at some point, yes, we would create a pathway or some way that we would get those great players, give them an opportunity to be unified again.
Yeah.
That's a big statement, by the way. There's been numerous ideas brought up. One that we're looking at right now, at least from my perspective, and what I've heard of so far, is just creating an exemption category for LIV golfers based on how they're playing during the course of the year. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, Jerry.
Well, I think it's, congratulations. I know John Bodenhammer. I've known him since we were kids, actually. He's a very, very bright guy. He works for one of the brightest guys I know in Mike Wan. The beauty of the majors, the 4 majors, is they don't have a dog in this political fight between what they call the fractioned professional golf landscape. They don't. They just want to guarantee the best tournament they can possibly guarantee for their fans, for their audience, for their institutions, and I think they'd be negligent if they didn't go consider that. I think all 4 majors are soon going to do that. We saw PGA Championship, Seth Wabi, the first one to actually say, come on, let's get real here. Even though he claims to not like LIV, and I believe him when he says that, because he is kind of more of the traditionalist from a golf standpoint, and a great guy. But he realized the importance of guaranteeing the best possible field. The PGA Championship has the best field in all of golf now. It used to be the Players, now it's the PGA Championship. They always had the best field of any major. But now you can't really quantify what the best field is, because the OWGR is no longer official or world. It's the PGA Tour ranking. So you have to figure out a way to guarantee that best field, and we saw him do it. Now we're seeing the USGA make noise about it, and we'll continue to see others.
Yeah, I think that's really positive news and positive kind of lens into what the future might look like, at least for the major championship,
Right.
Especially for the fans.
Yeah.
And we talk about this a lot. Speaking of the U.S. Open, we had the U.S. Open qualifier happen in the last week or so. Congratulations to David Puig. We have Eugenio Chacarra made it.
Burmester.
And Burmester.
Yes.
Guys who didn't make it, Joaquin, HV3, Leishman, Lucas Herbert, Sergio, Anaban, GMAC, Kem Tringale.
Yeah.
Adam Scott didn't make it either.
I know.
He lost in a playoff with his fellow
Ending that
Australian.
streak at 90, what is it, 91,
91.
consecutive majors, yeah.
91.
Yeah.
That's a lot of majors.
I know, and there's a lot of people out there saying, yeah, they've got to figure out a way to get him in the field, blah, 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 blah. All streaks come to an end.
Yeah.
Angela Stanford just ended her streak of consecutive majors in the LPGA. Yeah. And there was a whole bunch of people saying, she's got to be able to get in the U.S. Women's Open. All streaks have to come to an end sometime.
Yeah, and I think Sergio, if he doesn't get in through an alternate or some sort, I think this is his streak too for the U.S. Open, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But he's the first alternate out of the Dallas site, which was a few weeks ago. That was a really high strength of field, which is typically how the national alternate list works. So I don't know. The USGA doesn't typically release where the alternates are ranked overall from the various sites, but he has to be really high up there, maybe next guy in if there is another WD.
Yeah. Also, something that happened last week, Yuka Sasso.
Yuka Sasso.
U.S. Women's Open champion. Congratulations. Well played. Total score of 4 under par. She shot a final round of 2 under.
Yeah.
Won by 3?
In the end, I think it was 3, yeah.
Over her fellow Japanese.
Right. Well, yeah,
Shibino.
she's now flying the Japanese flag. She flew
Yeah.
the Philippines in her last U.S. Open victory,
That's
which I
right.
got to cover actually in a playoff with NASA Hateoka at the Olympic Club. Yeah, she's an incredible ball striker and an incredible kid as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's.
You should. There was an article written about all the just the different things she did while she was there. Like during the presentation, she's helping the mic ops arrange the cables. She's
No way.
in her winner's interview. There was one bottle of water there, and the USGA press girl, she was saying, "No, you have it. If you're thirsty, you just drink it." And no, the water's there for you. But sure, you sure you don't want it? That kind of thing. Just a
Yeah.
very selfless, giving person signing autographs on her way to the 18th tee in the final round. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah. She's got a lot of fans around the world. But speaking of Japanese player, I would say specifically Asian golfers on the women's tour.
Yes.
How about this stat? So 8 in the top 10 were Asians,
Yes.
flying the Asian flags.
Yes.
And 16 in the top 20 were flying the Asian flag.
Yeah, and that's not counting Asian Americans,
No.
Andrea Lee. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
actual Asians who are flying the Asian flag. I'm not saying that because I'm Asian and I'm being biased, but it is impressive, and it just goes to show where the growth of the game is going in women's golf.
Yeah, well, and I had a little discussion with a guy, kind of a noted teacher, on Facebook of all things about this, and he was saying,
Is Facebook?
yes, he was saying there are only 2 Americans in the top 35. I said, yeah, but those 2 Americans also tied for 3rd.
Yeah.
I said the LPGA was the first one to really embrace the international tour designation. They really were, and it has shown in the product. I mean, the incredible. When I covered the LPGA for over a dozen years, when I was out there watching, I didn't care what flag was next to their name, and I still don't, because they're just so incredibly talented. But the growth, I mean, it started with Sae Pak basically just inspiring a whole generations of Korean golfers. And then Arya Jutanagarn opens the floodgates from Thailand. Now, Japanese women's golf has been popular and huge for a long time. Ai Miyazato was a big part of that in the recent generation. But they don't have a lot of access to the LPGA. I think there's only one co-sanctioned event, which is how a lot of the international players make their way onto the tour. And they have a very profitable Japanese ladies tour, women's tour, and very popular. So when we saw all those Japanese names in the Women's Open, it wasn't a surprise, because we learned when Hanako Shibuno won the Women's British Open, the Women's Open
Smiling
Championship,
Cinderella.
the Smiling Cinderella at Woburn over in England. We heard there's another dozen more who are better than her, the golden age of Japanese golf, and I think we're seeing that in women's golf.
Yeah, it is exciting stuff for me as an Asian being a golfer, so always love to see the Asians up there at a major championship. I love Nelly Korda's attitude, though. Bad week at the office, you know? And she had a 10 on that par 3.
Oh yeah, no.
And I think on her socials, she actually made a joke out of it, and he says the U.S. Open is 10 out of 10, and with a smiley emoji. So I love her attitude.
Yeah, but not all great news coming out of last week. I am really sad that Lexi's deciding to make this her final year of basically competitive golf full time. She was always one of my favorite people. I love the family, and she just faced more scrutiny and criticism through her career as an impressionable youngster growing up in a fishbowl than anybody, and I just don't blame her at all for wanting to have her own life now, but I'm certainly going to miss watching her play.
Yeah, a lot of beautiful, heartfelt statements came out all of last week when she announced her retirement. All the best to you, Lexi. We love you, we respect you, and we hope to see you around at some point, you know, cross paths, maybe.
Are you dropping a hint? Is there a future there? And what, broadcasting or women's league? What, is there going to be a women's league now?
Listen,
are you breaking news here?
I'm not breaking.
I mean, everybody asks me that every time I go out to an LPGA.
I know.
When are we having one?
I know. Anyways, here at the Golf Club of Houston, really excited. We're going to do something a little different this week. We're going to not have a player talk to us because no players want to talk to us this week.
Well, speak for yourself.
So instead, we have someone even better to share some really cool insights into what it's like to run one of our teams.
Yeah.
We have the GM of the Four Aces, Mr. Chris.
Oh, this is like a talk show. We're going to have an entrance. Come on in.
Come on in.
Chris Rosaasen.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
I would say welcome to Texas, but I'm not from Texas.
Neither am I. So.
Yeah. Well, where are you from? You're from California, aren't you?
Originally born in Minnesota, but parents moved to California when I was 2. So
and then you went to University of Southern Cal.
No, I didn't go to USC.
You didn't go to USC?
No.
Hey, what's on your LinkedIn profile?
I don't know. I haven't even looked at my LinkedIn profile.
Jeez.
Didn't know you
Do I have a LinkedIn
You sure you got the
profile?
right Rosaasen?
It is the right Rosaasen.
With the extra A? Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, who makes that shirt? I got to know this. This is important.
Extracurricular.
That is one of your shirts?
Yes.
It is. Yep.
I love the underneath button-down thing.
So
Thank you.
everything
That's so cool.
everything that's in the merch store that's under, especially the Four Aces, is extracurricular, which is a company you founded. Just to give everyone a background of what Chris used to do, he was a CEO of Travis Matthew. You were with them for how long?
2008 to 2017.
So you launched it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I came in about maybe 3 months after they had started. It was started by Travis Johnson, Travis Brasher, John Mallinger. I had an apparel company before that I sold in 2006.
What was that called?
It was called Rosaasen.
Yeah.
And then they came to me to be the CEO and be a partner in the business and run it. So I came in at the beginning of 2008.
And they did well.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mally's living the good life down in SoCal.
Mally's doing all good.
Yeah.
Still good friends with him, and it's been fun to see him. I was with him at the beginning of his golf career. He helped, launch Travis Matthew, make it what it was, and now he's living in Long Beach. He bought his favorite local bar, and spends time at Virginia Country Club and his local bar.
He's retired.
Yeah.
He owns his own Cheers, exactly.
2 great kids, 2 boys, coaches his baseball team and stuff like that. So it's been.
But
cool
you're
to see.
still working.
For some reason, I'm still working. I thought I might be done.
You got a bite of the apple too, and you're still working.
I got drugged back in. I was very lucky. When we were going through the process of selling, my wife said, if and when this deal happens, she's like, we're taking the kids, pulling them out of school, and we're going to Europe, and we're gonna get one-way tickets, and when we decide to come home, we'll come home. And we closed on the deal, and I kid you not, a week later, she goes, tickets are booked, we're going. So we went to Europe for about a year or so.
Really?
Wow.
Just traveled, stayed in different areas for a month, different countries for a month or 2, until after about a year, we looked at each other and we're like, it's time to come home. And so I had to sign a non-compete when we sold Travis Matthew, so it was kind of guilt-free fun for 4 years. And as the non-compete was coming to an end, I started getting the itch a little bit, and decided to start extracurricular. So
Retirement's not for you, huh, Chris?
I don't know. I have some friends that are actors at the golf club I'm a member at in LA, and they're like, "You're screwed now." And I was like, "Why?" And they go, "Because every day's a vacation." And I had never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
And it's fun for a while, but I really enjoy working. I like new challenges, and Apparel was the only thing I knew how to do, so I decided to dive back into it.
Well, apparently not.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's you're the GM of the 4 Aces.
know.
They created a position
It-
that
yeah.
they believe in you to be able to handle.
Yeah.
It's funny how things kind of organically happen. You know, it's something I was never looking to do. We became the sponsor of the 4 Aces with extracurricular.
Right.
And Dustin and I were sitting around, and he threw out, he's like, why don't you be the GM of the team? And I hadn't really thought of it, but building a sports franchise is a lot like building an apparel brand, where it's like you're creating a look, a feel for the team. And especially in the early stages, if this is something that I was stepping into 10 years into it, the team would have its own look, feel, how you market it and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're really trying to, mold what the team looks like. I, use the analogy of sports. There's the Cleveland Browns, there's
Yeah.
the Dallas Cowboys, there's the Lakers, there's the Celtics. Every
Yeah.
team has its own look and feel.
Yeah.
And with us, the advantage with being the apparel sponsor as well and still being involved in the apparel side is we're putting their uniform on and creating their look and feel.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun challenge. About 6 months into it, but it's been good.
I mean, what are some of the strategies that you're trying to put in place for the Aces in terms of the players, the look, the brand, the visuals, the socials, the coolness?
Yeah, I mean, he's living proof. Coolness has no age limit.
Yeah.
It literally has no age limit. He's just goes a.
You're the limit.
That's true. I do that.
we might recruit you. No, I mean, luckily, we have a team of pretty cool guys, but that's been one of the, challenges. It's like, I look at the Rippers, they're naturally, like, they're the Australian team.
Right.
And, they exude Aussie all the way. We've talked about, I think one of the advantages of LIV is it's an international tour. So I think where the PGA Tour in the past was, you go after U.S. sponsors. We can go after international sponsors. Now, should we be the All-American team? Does that pigeonhole us into only being able to get U.S. sponsors, or are we more of a global team? And that is, when Dustin and I talk, Sue completely happy with the team now, but like, what does it look like 10 years down the road? Even when Dustin might not be playing, do we start recruiting a European player? Do we start recruiting somebody else to be able to get that global appeal? That's what we're trying to decide what to do. I'd say right now we're playing off of, we got 4 of the coolest guys. Very alpha, very aspirational, and that's who we're going after right now as far as how we're marketing the team.
What are some of, I'm sure this is a question that a lot of people will probably think of, but what's some of the challenges when you're managing 4 professional golfers who come from a background where the sport is so individualized and so individual based, and then they come into this league where it is about the team, it is about the franchise, it is about the branding, and trying to shape their minds into thinking along the lines of how you perhaps are thinking. How difficult is that? What are some challenges you face?
That's something that I hadn't really thought of until taking on this role, and you're exactly right. You have guys that have been, it's an individual sport. They've been thinking about themselves the whole time. And now it's whether doing team dinners. You get the 4 guys together and it's like, where do you want to go? And 2 of them want to have Italian and 2 of them want to have steaks. And it's like, well, Cap, DJ usually makes that deciding factor. But it is, it's trying to get these guys to change their mindset. It's been going pretty well, I'd say. But even practicing as a team, some of the guys like to wake up early and do their practice rounds. Some of the guys like to go off at noon. And sometimes all the guys play together. Sometimes the guys do what they want and do it on their own schedule. But it is definitely not a basketball, baseball mentality where they've always grown up and it's like, here's your schedule, you follow the schedule, this is what you do. They've always followed their own schedule.
Right.
So trying to change that mindset and work on it right now is what we're doing.
There are 4 such diverse personalities, all being alpha males in an individual sport. You got DJ, who's just, literally as laid back, seemingly as they possibly get. Doesn't seem to give anything too much thought. You got Pat Perez, who's as outgoing and as fun and as gregarious as anybody.
Yep.
You got Patrick Reed, who's secretly a lot funnier than people think, but an incredibly hard worker and single-minded. It's family and golf, and that is it.
Correct.
And then you got Harold Varner, who's just everybody's favorite guy.
Yep.
And it's just such a unique dynamic of blended personalities there.
Yep. No, you're exactly right. So that's my job to kind of juggle them, keep everybody happy. But no, it's been fun. And I think the guys are really enjoying it.
Yeah.
This is the first time, even sitting in, we're on a rain delay right now, sitting around talking about, listen, I'll tell you, the guys aren't happy we haven't been playing well. And, sitting there and,
They shouldn't be.
yeah, exactly.
I guarantee they're pissed.
But yeah, and I guess, giving each other a hard time. We were sitting, I guess it was in Singapore, and DJ got a smirk on his face and goes, "I've been doing my job." Not pointing anybody out specifically, but he's like, "I've been doing my job." But, but that is the team mentality where there's a fire that's being lit up. Listen, all these guys want to play well.
Yeah.
They're not happy with how they've been playing, but then when you're you're being held accountable and you're, have to, not let down 3 other people, it helps you, I think it's that extra little bit of drive.
Yeah.
And then the league as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you finish below 40, 48th,
Yeah.
44th.
You get relegated.
You're gone.
Yeah.
You're gone.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, period.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you could share some insights into, I think a lot of people have their own perception on what DJ is like outside the golf course. Can you share with us, because I guess you spent a lot of time with him, what is he like in terms of how involved is he in the franchise? How passionate is he? And what is he like off the golf course when we don't see him playing?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of people look at DJ as, super laid back, doesn't care. Like, he cares a lot. As an owner of the team, it's the perfect person because technically he's my boss. But he's not the person that's breathing down my neck being like, why isn't this happening, this and that. But he'll sit back with, insight from afar and be like, why don't we think about doing this? What about that? But yeah, I think also, people will be like, oh, DJ, either doesn't care, he cares a lot. 100%.
Yeah.
I think that he just carries himself well, where it's like he is laid back.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to golf, he's super serious. When the minute he steps off the golf course, he goes into his other personality, which is a lot more relaxed, laid back. I've never seen somebody that can let something on the golf course go if he finished poorly, hit a couple bad shots. Very angry on the golf course the minute he walks off, let it go, on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, we often say this. He's got the shortest memory in the game of golf.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes him so good.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, I play for fun, and I'll stay up at night after making a couple bad swings.
Didn't he, when we were overseas, didn't he go buy a driver at like a discount or a golf shop somewhere? Wasn't that recently?
I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah, I thought he did.
could have.
Yeah.
He cracked his driver.
Yeah, he cracked his driver and he went
in
to a
Hong
store
Kong.
and bought one.
Oh really? I didn't know that's what.
Yeah.
That's right.
He bought a
Can you
couple
imagine
of
them walking into the store and seeing DJ
Yeah.
picking?
I know.
He's on all the posters everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You mentioned sponsorships and go after international versus American ones. I'm a little more privy to some of the information than maybe the announcer should be, but I understand there is a lot of interest among sponsors. Now there's obviously been some reluctance, not knowing what the future of LIV is, but now all indications are, all promises are, it's fast forward, it's business as usual no matter what.
Yep.
Are you starting to see a lot more interest from a team standpoint?
We are. It's interesting being in the middle of the season right now because we are, really starting to look at 2025 sponsors. We brought on some for this year, but I just finalized. He started. His official day was Monday. A person that's heading up, kind of head of sponsorships. I was underestimated a little bit how much time that would take. I was like, I can handle that on my own. I've been using just a Rolodex where people that I've sat across the desk from, as far as corporate executives and stuff like that, to bring them to the table. But now we brought in a new gentleman that's just going to be focused on that. And we're actually planning an event, team championship. We're doing a hospitality structure. We're going to bring out a lot of the potential sponsors, show them what LIV's all about, to hopefully get them on board for 2025.
Oh, that's amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of the Four Aces? I know that's a loaded question, but where do you see not just the team, but where do you see the brand going?
Yeah, I mean, listen, selfishly, I think we have one of the best logos. We joke that we want to be, the Yankees or the Lakers of golf, where it's like, listen, how do we monetize these teams? One is through team prize money, obviously. The other one's through sponsorship, but the other big one is through apparel and merch. So, I want to build a brand that is, listen, it might not be an avid golfer, but it's a sports fan that wants to wear that Aces hat or that Aces shirt. And it's building a franchise and a globally recognized brand.
Well, speaking of brand, extracurricular, you guys are also supporting AK.
We are.
Anthony Kim,
Yep.
aren't you? Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are working together with him.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw some really, I don't know if you've seen it, it's some really cool stuff that has his logo on it.
Yep.
Oh, no way. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And I don't know if he's got some cool stuff on his sleeves. Maybe was it?
Yeah,
with his daughter's
he
name or something?
started journaling, and part of his that he's been taking some of the words or phrases that he's been doing in his journaling, and one of his big things is he's very proud to be a girl dad.
Yeah.
So we throw that on a shirt, gratitude, and then he created his own logo. He came to us and it was a hand drawing that he did
Like
of
the
his own
A
logo.
with the
with
K,
the K,
yeah.
And so that's been a fun thing to do, and as him being a wild card, not on a team, it was kind of a nice natural fit. So
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, speaking of wild card not on a team, he's not available in the open trade window that we're in right now. It closes Sunday night.
Yep.
We heard little rumblings behind the scenes of things that might be happening when the trade window opened, but as of yet, no trades.
Correct.
How deep did the discussions go amongst your team about making any potential moves?
We didn't, not too deep. I talked with a couple other of the GMs and captains, and there was some mild interest. No trades from our side. I'm happy with our team. I think what's going to get interesting as things evolve is when we can start to put dollar amounts on the trades.
Right.
It's hard to trade for a player that's really playing hot and good for somebody that's not. I mean, that's what you'd want to trade. We'd
Yeah.
be looking for somebody, if I did want to trade somebody, like somebody that's on fire right now,
Yeah.
that to bring onto the team to help them out. Vice versa, somebody would want to take one of our good players for somebody that isn't. Now, if we were wanting to make a run for the team championship and somebody came to us and they're like, hey, I'll trade you so-and-so for X amount of $1 million, might be worth us if we think we can go after that.
Right.
So that's when I think that's the next evolution. I don't think, as far as I know, I don't think any trades happened,
No.
right?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
We have 3 more days.
I think you'll see a lot more movement come in the off season.
in the free agent signings.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think so.
absolutely, yeah.
And how does that work? I know it sounds like, because in other sport, they obviously do it, but not mid-season.
Right.
Well,
no,
Well,
there's
Do they?
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does that work in terms of like branding and strategy, and having to kind of then now mid-season, should it happen in the future where you have the mid-season trade, brand your brand? It could be someone that's not
Yeah, well,
in
you
your
bring something up
cookie
good.
cutting.
It's going to make my life and the rest of the media team and everything else, their life easy, because we've had photo shoots and all of our collateral. If we were to bring somebody on, we'd have to reshoot that stuff.
Yeah.
But listen, that's something I would be more than willing to do if the trade made sense for the team.
Yeah.
I guess what gets me exciting is, there was some discussion. I thought maybe some teams would make moves, but it's going to get fun as this league continues to build and grow.
Yeah.
When the trade window's open and the off season, I think that's going to get exciting.
Yeah, because this time it was light contract for light contract. If you
Yes,
traded for me, then your team has to adopt my contract. We have to adopt yours, and no compensation. But that's going to change.
Correct.
That's going to change as these clubs, not franchises, clubs they like to call them, establish their identity and their business models and business plans moving forward.
No, that's exactly right. And where it could make sense is, listen, if you could trade one of your players and put some money in the team budget,
Right.
and you had your eye on somebody that was maybe turning pro next year, or somebody that you have your eye on for the offseason, that's where it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Have you looked at players outside of the league that could
Yes.
be like amateurs, as you mentioned, or players
absolutely.
or even guys who are already professionals?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something DJ and I have been talking about.
Give us some names.
I know. Drop some names.
Can't do that, but I will tell you, he's playing in all 4 majors, and that's when he sees all these other players, whether they're playing on the European Tour or PGA Tour, and that's something we're definitely looking at.
So he does look out for that stuff. He does pay attention to
I'm telling
it.
you, he's got his eye and finger on the pulse a lot more than people would.
Well, you heard it. Yeah, you heard it here from the guy
I don't buy it, not unless I get named.
Chris, I spoke to you about this yesterday, and I said I'm going to ask you this question today. You've had obviously a lot of experience with Travis Matthew, and it's a brand that's become so loved in the golf industry. I'm sure there were challenges there, and I'm sure there are challenges here as a GM of the Four Aces. What's a harder job?
Man, that's kind of a loaded question. It's a good question.
I did warn you that I was going to ask you this question.
I guess
today.
listen, it's such different problems. the apparel, the hardest thing with apparel, and I've used this analogy, is you use a third world country to produce first world goods. So and the timeline is so long. From sitting down and designing, we'll make it simple, a polo shirt. You send it overseas to get sampled. There's all the problems that can happen when it's getting sampled. It comes back, you make the changes, then you order production. You have to wait 90 days, 100 days to get the production in. Then you have to get it to the retailer. Then it has to get on the shelf at a retailer, and the consumer has to come in and want to buy it.
Right.
Now that whole process is a year long. So there's so many things that can go wrong, and there's so many problems.
Right.
I think on the GM side, it's more, it's managing personalities, it's corporate sponsors, it's the intangible of how the team's playing. So different challenges. I would say apparel is kind of what I've done my whole life, so I can roll with the punches there.
But you're also doing apparel with
Yeah.
the Aces, with extracurricular, so you're multitasking, you're doing both, really. I mean, and putting that apparel into the merch shop, designing for every week. I know you guys have done such a fantastic job in making all the different designs. I know Australia, you had G'day with the 4 Aces A in there, was really cool with the kangaroos and stuff. And I know you guys have a few different ones. Miami was really cool.
Yep.
So you must have your hands full. I mean,
I'm quite busy.
For a
I
retired
have a
guy.
lot of really good help on the extracurricular side. I mean, the Aces position is what I would say is my full-time thing.
Yeah.
But I am busy, but it's fun. Being busy is better than not being busy. So.
well, I know you extracurricular dressed DJ at the PGA, and it was some really cool designs. Now, did he get involved with the design process for his own stuff?
He does, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He'll sit down with myself and the design team and pick out what he wants to wear for the week. We got U.S. Open next week. So we try to keep him in, or put him in different stuff than what he's wearing for his traditional kit for LIV. However, he has all the LIV and Aces branding on him. But yeah, he enjoys that, and he is so good in particular with his clothing too. It's amazing. The pants that he had for
I overheard a conversation about shorts. It was
Yeah.
shorts he's like super particular how it sits and how it's cut.
Yeah, even when we came up with the pant and short fit, he brought me 3 of his favorite pair of pants, and we basically combined all the attributes from all 3 of those pair into the single pair that he got. He's like, I like this fabric, I like this fit, I like it's all the different things to come together. But he even, for the PGA Championship, he had called me afterwards and he goes, the fabric's different than normal. And I go, what are you talking about? And it's something I didn't even catch. And we had found out that in the new production run, our vendor had put a very light coating on. It's the same fabric, but they put a different coating on the outside of it, where it definitely was warmer. And he was like, the pants are hotter than the other pants were. And it's amazing like how much he can tell and how specific he is.
My goodness, you would never tell that DJ would be that way.
No, that's
No,
cool,
he's
though.
very specific. But it also helps make us, have us make good clothing, because you're getting one of the best in the world that's out there in particular. And it's like, listen, if he's that particular on it, for the average person that's going to be playing golf, you know that you're getting some of the best stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Reed doesn't ever even wear shorts, so his pants have to be comfortable.
However, I think you saw him in some shorts in Singapore.
Yeah.
He doesn't have shorts, and he called us and he goes, you know what, man? He goes, I was looking at the weather in Singapore. It's going to be hot. Can you send me shorts? So every once in a while, you'll get him in shorts.
You detail a lot of work that goes into running an organization, 4 Aces. How big, I think people would be curious, how big is the staff? You have the 4 players, 4 caddies, you, and how many other people?
Okay, yeah, so we have a team physio that travels with the team full time.
Strictly your team?
Yep, just our team, Matt
Matt,
Orr.
right, yeah.
Yep. We have Colin Yost, who's the team manager that handles just the day-to-day needs for all the players. We have John Schwartz, who's kind of the overall assistant that handles everything, just the needs that you don't know are going to come up. We have Antonio, who heads up all the social media, videography. And then newest person on the team is Max Russell, that's coming in for sponsorships.
Wow.
So it's about 6 full-time.
Wow.
On the team right now.
And they all, I mean, they obviously travel with the team, but they all then work remotely from wherever.
We have a 4 Aces official headquarters in West Palm.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We do.
Did not know that.
What?
Yeah. Which, next time you guys are in the area, you need to stop by.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
Is there some fridges in there stocked?
Absolutely.
That's the way it should be for aces.
I'll tell you, DJ has his own office there, and DJ's office has a bar in it, and it's set up quite nice. But no, it's
How
great.
did we not know this?
I know.
How the hell? I mean, that's like
know.
3 hours from my house. I'm going to come down and bartend.
Yeah, you need to come check it out.
Yeah.
I have an official office there. I try to come in on, it's so hard with us traveling 14 weeks a
Where are
year.
you right now? Are you specifically in LA?
No, technically home base is New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still have a place in LA.
Okay.
But I'm like a nomad.
Just everywhere. We were talking about that yesterday.
You'll
Yeah.
soon be establishing residency in Florida, though.
I've been talking with DJ about that, and I think that is something that we'll be doing probably in the next, not in the next 6 months, but within the next 12 months.
Well, for no other reason, taxes. You got to do it for taxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad commute from New York as well.
No.
Well, and you're going to be closer to DJ. You'll be able to spend a bit more time with him
Yeah.
in terms of building the 4 aces.
When it makes sense is like this last break that we had when it's almost a month off. That's
Yeah.
when you can actually be there to get some work done. It's
Yeah.
hard with our. We all kind of live in a traveling circus where it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
get home for.
And
especially
he has
you
to
with-
play.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, and he's got 4 more weeks with the majors as well. So
Yeah, and he's got kids.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I want to know. I want the juicy gossip, insider information, any good stories that you can share that won't get anyone in trouble.
That's impossible.
No, come on. There's always like a funny story that happened, whether it's a team on the road story or that you can maybe share with us. Maybe at dinner, someone said something funny. Because your group of guys are
We got a lot of
entertaining.
characters. I don't know if I can tell you any stories that won't get me in trouble.
Damn it.
I can't imagine you could.
Damn it.
Who's the funniest guy on the team?
Outwardly, Harold.
Yeah.
The one that you wouldn't suspect, P. Reed.
Yeah.
I was
P.
going to
Reed's funny.
say,
He's very funny.
Yeah.
Dry but funny, and he's
Yeah.
the one. There's nothing that you'll get by him.
Did you see the reaction when that social media guy had him sign the rules book?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the PGA, and he
was
just
great.
he looked at it and he just started cracking up.
Yeah.
He can make fun of himself
So,
too.
100%. Yeah.
that's awesome.
I take it. I mean, and you're closer to him now than you probably ever were. I think he's one of the most misunderstood guys in all of golf.
100%.
do.
There isn't anybody that's more genuine and just a good guy.
Yeah.
He genuinely really is.
Yeah, he's always been very generous with his time. Even with us, on the broadcast and stuff.
Yep.
He's always. I remember this was in DC last year. We had a bit of a technical issue post round, but he had shot a fantastic round, so we had to get him. We had to talk to him.
Yep.
And we had a camera issue, and he was just totally fine waiting. And I'm not talking like waiting 2 minutes. He was waiting with me for like 10, 15 minutes.
Yep.
And you just don't see these things on camera. You don't hear about these things, until you get to know the player and get to know
Correct. Just today we did an event this morning with a group of autistic children, but that was something that Patrick put together. It's his good friend Jason Alexander that has the charity, and he's the one who brought it to me and lined it up. And he's a very, very good human.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Patrick Reed, he's one of the best players and the best performing players even last season to not have won on LIV.
Yeah, since the beginning. Yeah.
It's shocking.
What
that
do
he
you
hasn't
think?
won yet.
What do you think it will take for him to cross that finish line?
If I had that answer, I think.
Yeah,
But it's one of those. I think there's a couple things. Listen, you're showing the talent of players that are out here. There's just a lot of really good players, and he's probably, I don't know what the stats are, probably one of the most consistent. But he's always there. Hasn't finished yet. If I was a gambling man, I would bet on him to win this year. It's just, I look at it, it's like the roulette wheel. It's hit red a bunch of times. It's gonna. His number is gonna come up here soon.
Yeah.
It's home
Yeah, but
week.
if you've been betting on him from the beginning, which I would have, it would have been a similar win percentage to that infielder who just got banned for life from baseball yesterday. The guy won like 4.8% of his bets. He was so bad at it, and he gets kicked out of the league forever because he's a horrible gambler. Oh my God. Yeah, but no, because he hasn't won yet, and I would bet on him just about every week.
100%.
Yeah. The problem is we only have 13 events a year. In the first year we only had 7.
Yep. You're
7,
exactly
13,
right on that
and
too.
we've had 7 this year. We have 27 events so far. where there's been an individual champion. 27 events, and coming up on this is our 3rd season, but our 2nd birthday on Monday.
And you have a consistently really good field.
Yeah,
There aren't
great
any
guys
of
you
the
gotta
off
beat.
weeks, or you get the same group of really good guys
Yeah.
together every week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Has there been any talk inside the Four Aces camp about the top 24 and getting in that top 24? I know some of your guys are
Absolutely.
outside that bubble. How much pressure are they under? Do they talk about it openly, or is it just something they're just like, you know what, we're going to go practice and handle our business?
I would say each guy is a little bit different.
How's
There's
Perez feeling it right now?
Listen, he knows he needs to play well.
Right.
100%. I wouldn't say he's not nervous about it, but he knows he needs to play well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality, and I think that's one of the misunderstood things on people coming over to this league is they go, listen, it's all rainbows and butterflies and tons of money, and it's not necessarily like. I would say there could be a tougher way back onto the LIV Tour than a PGA Tour in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's not playing the off weekends when it's easy to go finish inside the top 20 and make money or points. Like you're playing against the same hard field every single week. So
And they're set
on
weeks.
tough courses.
yeah.
And you don't get to choose when you play.
Yeah, absolutely. So
There's set weeks. You're playing those weeks, whether you got your game or not. Whether you're in bad form and you want to go work with your instructor. No, you're playing this week. You got to figure it out.
yeah, that's exactly right.
And you can't enter something else to get more points.
No,
you know?
right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
Like,
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you can't.
There's a lot of veterans on the PGA Tour that made their kept their cards in basically the times I always call it the off season, but it wasn't the off season, but just that that November through February when a lot of the top players weren't playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've taken enough of your time, but to close out, I want to find out from you, what makes Four Aces different from the other 12 teams?
That's a good question. I mean,
She'll surprise you every now and
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd say just look at our guys. I would say that I would like to think I have 4 of the most marketable guys with 4 completely different personalities. Nothing against other teams, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Is there are teams with very strong identities where it's like there's an Aussie team, there's a Spanish team, there's a South American team. Like I got the
South
4
African
aces,
team.
and they're it's almost like 4 wild cards as far as personalities. I got
Right.
4 unique guys that you never know what you're going to get from them. And I mean, also all 4 guys that arguably I'd argue against anybody that says that not each one of them could win each week. So 4 really good players with 4 great personalities.
Yeah. Well, we love the Four Aces. We're big fans.
One of us picked him to win this week.
Well, yeah.
I like that.
Before
Not
you
her.
walked in, he goes, oh yeah. I'm like, who do you think is going to win the team? He goes, oh, Four Aces. I go, is that
overdue.
why? Is it because Chris is coming in today?
We are overdue.
You are overdue. I mean, the first year Four Aces came out, you guys were such a dynasty, and it was just, I think it just proves how the league has evolved since. Also,
Right. Well, DJ played some of the best golf of his
Yeah.
life that year too.
yeah,
He
yeah,
did.
yeah.
And last year, you roll with confidence. Last year, we were leading the whole season.
Yeah.
But
We
it
won
also
in
shows.
Vegas this year, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
listen. I mean, DJ's still playing great golf. I think that it just shows you have to all 4 scores counting on Sunday. If you have one guy on the team that doesn't play well,
Yeah.
it's
Can't
tough.
hide 'em.
And there's just a lot of really good players now.
Yeah.
And guys have been playing some really good golf. The scores have been incredible.
Yeah.
And that's some of the things even we've looked at. And even if all 4 guys played well, it's still the winning teams have been running away and just playing. All 4 guys shooting 5-6 under on the final day is tough to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time.
man.
We
Absolutely.
appreciate you. I know you're a busy man, so we'll let you go and handle your 4 players who are sitting in the clubhouse right now
Hopefully the
with
weather
this
clears up.
rain delay.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. Good luck with
you.
everything. Always love seeing you around. You're such a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I love
nice.
it.
Thanks,
All
man.
right. Thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
thanks, Chris.
Yep.
But much like the talk show, you keep your seat until we go to commercial.
Wow, that was a very insightful conversation. I
Yeah.
love it.
He's a bright guy. He's a kind of a feel-good story of
Yeah.
success. I love it.
Yeah, and it's so cool to listen from his perspective because this whole model is new to the game of golf. We've never had franchises. We've never had to build team brands. We've never had to trade players. So to be able to talk to someone who's on the business front of it is it's so freaking cool.
I know.
You know?
And there's no real blueprint for it. And I mean, everything he's done, he's created from scratch. So there's sort of blueprints and models for it with other team sports, but never has been done in golf. Never has it been done in an individual sport.
Yeah.
It is now.
Yeah, and I think it's cool for him because I think he then gets free reign into creating it, right? You have that creative space to start from scratch, and you have room to really push boundaries without offending anybody. So yeah, cool guy. He's always got a big smile on his face. So yeah, really appreciate him coming on. And how cool is it that I don't know if it's a coincidence, I don't know if our producer planned it, but we did this specific podcast in a pro shop. When we had Chris on.
Oh, and when you walk in, there's first shirt I saw was a Travis Matthews shirt. The company he basically helped found.
I know. Anyways, I'm really excited for this week. Golf Club of Houston. I know they've had some serious weather in the last
but I was talking
week.
to the director of golf, and he said it drains. There's a couple of problem areas, but it drains really, really well. It has to. We're in Houston. It rains a shit ton here.
I know.
It has to drain well, or you don't get to play.
I know. Apparently the greens are going to be rolling at 12, so they're going to be good. And with the sunshine and a lot of wind on this golf course,
And
hopefully.
some Singapore type
And
heat,
some
I'm told.
I feel it.
We have heat indexes in the mid 105s to 108, maybe 110. It's total Singapore.
What are you talking about? You live in Florida.
Yeah, it's not the
The
same.
summer in Florida is
It's-
arguably worse than Singapore.
Jesus Christ. There's absolutely no way in hell there's a place on earth that's hotter than Singapore day in and day out.
Hell.
Well, on earth.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this week. We've had 4 weeks off, so it feels weird, but I'm excited to watch some golf again.
Yeah. It does feel weird. I miss so many people when we're gone for a month, but I get to see you every single week.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And he
Usually-
hates it.
I
He
know,
hates it.
it's so cheesy.
Anyways, thank you so much for choosing us, Fairway to Heaven. Really appreciate you listening in and putting up with our nonsense. Please do find us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. You can find us anywhere. Again, please do follow us and like us on our social channels, FTH_LIV Golf, and we do have our very own YouTube channel, Fairway to Heaven Podcast. You can also find all the content on our LIV Golf Plus streaming app. It's been a pleasure.
Good fun,
Yeah,
as always.
it's been a good fun. The next one we'll do together will be Nashville. But next week we're back in our Zoom boxes. So
Oh, that's right. Correct.
yeah. Anyways, we'll see you again next week. Enjoy the golf, and may Torquay win.
Four aces. Hands down.